Hey, Michael here from Beer Baseball Blog, the adventures of craft beer and baseball. This is the Beer Baseball Hoppy Hour, episode 1 for October 24th, 2020. This is a roundtable baseball discussion. All we ask is that you bring something to drink and an opinion. Doesn't have to be alcoholic, could be water, could be milk, could be tea. But thank you for joining us. Before we get started, wherever you're watching us live today, please give us a like and a comment. Let us know that you're out there. We're doing this for the first time on the weekend, so we're testing this out, and we have some pretty special guests with us. As always, we'd appreciate if you subscribe and turn on notifications. So let's go around the horn and meet the panel. First, our guests are from Halo Haven and All Angels podcast, Johnny Maggs and Daniel Garcia. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having me back on, and I'm sure Johnny's first voyage.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for being here and taking a beautiful California day and staying inside and talking baseball. And as always, I don't have our partner Angelo with us, but I do have my partner from the Beer Baseball Blog and the Beer Baseball Blogcast, Kevin Lyon. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here, talk some baseball on a Saturday afternoon.
Awesome. My name is Michael Mondragon, and I'm in a virtual room, as it were, with 3 big Angel fans. So we definitely have some of those topics on the board. So actually, let's look at the topics that we're going to throw out there today, and let's have some good discussion. Actually, before we start, are you guys having a beer today, or are you guys staying clean? I know Kevin wants to have a beer and he can't because he's got to go to work later.
Yep.
Yeah, I have Belching, Beaver, Phantom Bride, Deftones.
Nice.
Great beer. Love the Deftones. That's my favorite band ever. But the beer is actually really good. Belching Beaver puts out some good stuff. So I have a bunch of cans here. They got the digital bath as well. Really
Yep.
Swerve City. Probably my favorite.
Nice.
There. Then the freshly released White Pony. Right.
Oh, look at you, boy. Kevin, he's outclassing you.
Big time. And you drank that Deftones beer on the show before too, on the Tuesday show, if I remember correctly.
Yep. I love Belching Beaver. I've been down there once, and I really like them. They have a lot of great beers. And Deftones. How many times have you seen the Deftones?
Oh God. I was supposed to go this March, but COVID. But I've seen Deftones maybe 12 times in my life. 13
Oh,
times.
wow. That's cool. Yeah. I was supposed to see the Deftones open for Ozzy. This would have been it was before I moved to LA. So I would say like 96 or 97.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Ozzy got sick and canceled. So not only did I not see Ozzy, I did not see the Deftones, but are you ready for this? I went to my friend's house. So we worked at Zia Records in Phoenix, Arizona. So a big independent music store. And we went to this girl's house, and she was having a party afterwards that we were supposed to have after the Ozzy concert. Chino Moreno. We sat down and we watched Sepultura videos for the rest of the night. So there you go. There's my Deftones connection.
I jammed out with Sepultura years ago.
No kidding.
At the showcase Corona, yeah.
I think we have another podcast in us, right?
All the wrestling stuff we're talking off camera. Now we're getting music on camera. Now here we go. We have like a three podcast kind of thing going.
Yeah. We're going to go an hour about talking about beer or baseball.
I know, exactly. But somehow, weirdly, it'll be in there, right?
Yeah.
Daniel, do you have anything?
Actually, Modern Times, the Fruitlands.
Nice.
Picked that up before the show. I mean, I'm not a huge like IPA kind of person. I think I talked about that last time I was on. So it's a sour. I tend to go more towards that type.
I love sours.
Yeah. So no, it's really good. It's actually my first time having it. So yeah, I really enjoy it. It's actually really good.
And if there's a Trader Joe's by you, there's a Mai Tai version of that beer that you can get too. That's the only place I've seen. I'm sure you might be able to find it other places. But I think I've had the Mai Tai version on the show before, and that was good too.
Yeah, I think the Trader Joe's is off of, well, if you're from Riverside, off of Central.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know exactly.
Good
what
little
you're talking
selection
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
we were talking. Daniel and I were talking in the background before the show, and I actually sent him to the Modern Times
Yeah.
website, and they have
Okay,
actually
look
a
at
whole hazy IPA series. So it's like from different months they'll have different things. So like it
Yeah,
has a
'cause
kind of a really cool can.
Yeah, I was talking to Michael. I was texting him before. I think it was yesterday. He's like, "Yeah, I had this one hazy IPA from Modern Times, and like I said, I'm not an IPA person, but a buddy of mine had it, so I tried it. I was like, oh, this is really good." And not really thinking anything about it, I tried to buy it again, months later, and then I was like, "Man, this tastes so different." But now,
Seasonal.
but now realizing that's probably seasonal. That's why.
Mhm.
So I'm still kind of new to the whole craft brew and the seasonal releases and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And I get the game mixed up because it is a similar logo for the majority of their cans,
Right.
with the color and the lighting on it. You just got to make sure you see what the top says and read the description.
Yeah, and they do collaborations too, so that kind of throws you off a little bit too sometimes because sometimes you'll see another logo on there, so it's a little bit confusing. But it's like us. I mean, it's great to like find out like the different collaboration because you had one from Coronado on the blogcast last Tuesday, and it was Coronado Brewing and another brewery. So we always, if you like, for instance, if I like Coronado Brewing, I would actually try this other one because they did a collab with them. So it actually opens you up to other breweries.
Brewing.
Yeah. So the one I have today is the Tangerine Express Hazy IPA from Stone, and as you can see, they have all their packaging upside down.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting. Yeah, it's very simple, but very effective marketing that they've done. And the regular IPA was great, but the hazy, oh my gosh, so good. So I'm not quite sure how to explain a hazy. Maybe it's a little bit sweeter. But definitely, if you like IPAs, you'll love the hazy IPAs and the juicy IPAs that are out there.
Yeah.
And for that, the upside down thing, you'll notice it'll say on there, "No stone is left unturned." That's the explanation for why the upside down logoing. They've been doing that.
Super awesome. And again, the difference between craft beers and macro beers, we're not down on macro beers, but we tend to support like minor leagues, like we support the minor league teams. The major league teams are going to be okay. The Budweisers, the Miller Lights, the Coors out there, they're going to be just fine. So, these littler breweries are actually, they were first home brewers and they started, and we're supporting their journey. Like one of the big ones that's out there now is Golden Road, and we supported that. They were in the San Fernando, like over by the LA Zoo, when they were an independent, and now they're a major. So that's how that kind of works. So supporting the little guys, and you can find some really good stuff, and they're always really supportive of us and beer and baseball. So it's all good. So let's put out the topics that are on the board today, and we will let somebody start off the conversation. And so we can talk about the 2020 World Series. Daniel threw out this one. Trevor Bauer has been very prominent in social media, and a lot of his outspokenness recently in baseball, and I'm really enjoying that. Actually, that's very rare for baseball to be somebody that opinionated. Attending games in 2021, what does that look like? And are you going to get a ticket to opening day if it happens? That's something we can discuss. Daniel also brought this one, which was what exactly makes a rivalry? Is it location? Is it amount of games played and different things? Kevin and I, this is one of our passions. We love like talking about minor league baseball. I just read something this morning that was in an email actually that kind of gave a little insight to the future of this. So if we want to talk about this, obviously we can talk about the Angels offseason, what that entails, who's going to be the GM coming up, or, some speculation about that. We could talk about baseball cards, the surge of popularity and value in baseball cards. So we can talk about that. An interesting thing we can do is show and tell. Reach somewhere around you and pick up an item, and we can talk about that. the greatest games that you ever attended or watched, or we can talk about that. And we have Potpourri, which is anybody can choose anything, or I have a very interesting trivia quiz here from the LA Times, which is very difficult. And so if we want to play that game. So these are the topics on the board. And so let's go with what I have on top. Daniel, do you want to pick a topic to talk about?
Yeah, so let's go to, and this is something we've talked about, but I'm interested about your guys' point of view on what makes a rivalry.
Awesome. I think that's a great topic. So go ahead, start the discussion.
So Johnny and I were kind of talking about this on the podcast, and before, even right now. We're Angel fans. Dodgers are in the World Series. A lot of people I know, whether it's family or friends, have come up and be like, "Oh, so you have to be rooting for the Rays." And I'm like, I mean, I am, but it's more so because of the small market, the way they build a team, more so than going against the Dodgers. And they kind of give me that look, like, really? And I was like, yeah, like, my whole thing is that Dodgers and the Angels are kind of more like PR rivals, I guess you would say, because they're fighting over the same kind of fan base. But as far as rivalries and something that makes rivalries great, whether it goes into college football or even the collegiates have rivalries because they play each other every single year. Big stakes are usually attached to them. When the Angels play the Dodgers, normally it's like 4 games out of the year, 5 games out of the year, and most of the time it's in the middle of the season, so they're not necessarily huge stakes connected to it. I think what the fans make the rivalry what it is, and you hear players talk about the energy they get from that game, but I think it's more so the energy that the fans build up for that game. So if that energy is the same way when it's the Angels and the A's, they're gonna feel the same way. It's not necessarily the Dodgers that pull it out of them. So I'm more of a guy that who's been, the rivalry is more of guys they've played consistently or teams they played consistently over a handful of years in the playoffs. So you're talking about your Bostons, your New Yorks, your even the Twins for a little while. They seem to always kind of match up with them for a bit. So that's kind of my point of view on rivalries. Like, I'm more interested in a rivalry against the A's than I am really against the Dodgers.
Interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I hate the Red Sox, and that's because they used to beat us in the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
And that's my first memory of my mom crying in 1986. And I hate the Red Sox. And in 2009, when we swept them out of the playoffs, I immediately shouted and screamed, and I hate the Red Sox. And I'm a Lakers fan, so I hate Boston, period. So,
and that's the thing too. Like, the Dodgers and Angels never played in the playoffs, so they haven't had a game where it has so much riding on it. Like, like Boston in the playoffs or New York in the playoffs or anyone like that, or a division title. Like, let's just say, fast forward, they expand, they add 2 more teams, they realign, and now the Dodgers are playing the Angels more like they did this year because of the COVID season. Then that can change everything, because now you might face them in the playoffs, or you might have 16 games against them, when those 16 games mean a lot compared to like 5. So as of right now, I just think it has to do more with who they play more often, and then when they do play, how much is behind that game, like how much the stakes matter in the game.
Yeah,
it's definitely history, because you look like Yankees, Dodgers, they play each other in the World Series so many times for decades and decades. That's built up. Like,
right,
Dodger fans are going to be way more invested in Giants, the Dodgers, until the Astros series. Now the Astros, is obviously the biggest.
They messed everything up. They're everyone's rival now.
Yeah,
for real.
exactly.
For real.
But the Dodgers are going to play the Astros like hardly ever. You know what I mean? This year's
Right.
Is an exception. That's what we can talk about too in 2021 is, do we see the schedule changing any more permanently because of what they did this year? But it comes down to, it is location in some way, especially college football or in general, because you'll have like Oregon State. Most people in that state care so much in that state. We go outside that state, people aren't going to care as much. But again, it comes down to location and history, and obviously the fans. Absolutely.
So do you think that interleague play has helped or hurt rivalries?
Oh,
I mean, I think it's helped.
It's helped because you would never see the Dodgers and Angels otherwise.
The fact that we would only watch them play the Dodgers in March, that in games that didn't matter much at all.
Well, even then too, just until recently, Dodgers were in Florida.
Yeah.
So they didn't even play each other in spring training for the longest time. But
Right.
yeah, I think it's helped. It's helped the rivalry, and it gives fans more of that bragging type kind of stuff. But as far as I think it's helped. But hopefully, kind of what Kevin was saying, if they do kind of do a realignment or kind of tweak the next season schedule, hopefully you do see more of the Dodgers, Angels somewhere in there to make it kind of a more you see them more, they mean more. So I think that's probably hopefully what they'll do.
I don't see that happening though. It probably because baseball is such a traditional sport. You know what I mean? They're already talking like they're going to go back to using the DH. I'm sorry, not using the DH in the National League next year. And I'm like, wow, just like that, when the season ends, they're already ready to go back to how it was. And I'm like, all right, well, too bad for the NL.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
I can see them bringing back the DH. I can see him bringing back the DH for a couple reasons, at least temporarily. One being your rosters are so different when compared to AL and NL because of that DH. You can hold on to an aging first baseman or aging third baseman and put him at DH a lot of times, and you don't have to worry about him costing you defensively. Where in the NL, you really can't afford to hold that guy on, because if he's just going to sit on your bench and he has a huge contract, he's just wasting away. You can't use him. But what I'm interested to see is if they do, because even before all this, they were talking about bringing the DH all the way around. If maybe, 2021, we go back to normal where there is a pitcher in the NL batting, but maybe say, hey, NL teams, we're going to do the DH in 2023, 2024. So start working your roster accordingly. Maybe there's an aging star that you want to, because let's talk about the Angels. If Pujols was able to DH for the Cardinals, do they let him go? If there's that DH spot for the Cardinals, do they just say, okay, we look what you've done for us, we're going to let you DH, but we have a first baseman coming up or whatever. Maybe the NL teams will do that. Now we'll offer a guy a longer contract, knowing that by the end of that contract they'll have a DH in the NL.
Yeah,
if Ortoni was a National League player, he'd be useless in the National League right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's funny that you say that, because the Cardinals is my home my team, and so like I remember when that all went down, I knew I was 50-50, but I was actually like 51-49 that I knew that he was leaving, because it's like there's no way that they were going to pay him the money that he got, and like what is he making like this year, like close to 38, 40, something like that.
Close to 40.
Oh my God. Like what you could get for that right now, in today's market. So like he did. Yeah, he did it. It was the best thing they ever did. And it's like, I understand the Players Association wouldn't let him take any less as well. So it's like, he was
market for everybody else.
Yeah, he was going to take a hometown discount. So, and actually, like the Cardinals actually lost players because of kind of this situation. Like they lost Luke Voigt because they didn't have a place for him, because they had Matt Carpenter, and they were paying him all this money, and they had to have him in the lineup. So they played him at first rather than Luke Voigt. They had to get rid of Luke Voigt.
And now if you tell the Cardinals, hey, in 2 years, we're going to have a DH. Now you can kind of, now I can hold on to this guy for a little bit longer, knowing in 2 years there's going to be a spot for him, and I don't want to lose him because he can turn into some, a great power hitter and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. And there's so many players. There's so many Cardinals players that are in the playoffs this year. Is kind of funny because it's just going down. Like Rosarena, Sandy Alcantara. So many, and Voigt was another one. I'm sure there's other ones that are on my. I'm just like, I just grind my teeth, but that's baseball,
right? Yeah. And kind of going back to the rivalry thing, I want to ask you, Michael. Being a Cardinals fan, what are your thoughts about obviously Missouri and Kansas City? Like, is there they're the same state and stuff like that, but there's not a real rivalry, you would say, there, is there?
There is, surprisingly. I think it's one of those things that's kind of like built in, because the Kansas City St. Louis one is the I-70s, because that's the freeway in between them. So when they played in the 85 World Series, it was a big deal. So it was an all Missouri, and they're also on each side. I think Midwest is much different because I had friends that grew up in Iowa that were Cardinal fans, and it was just because of the Cardinal radio network. So you get that kind of like this. It's definitely a regional thing, because like the Chicago fans are the same thing. I think region definitely has a lot to play in it, because even in Chicago, the north side or south side, so, and I was surprised how much more kind of vitriol that there was for the Cardinal fans. I think it's also like the success. They saw them as, more successful than the Cubs, but I went just recently to Wrigley Field, and the Cubs fans are pretty arrogant about their success recently. So Kevin, you were there too.
Yeah, and I'm guessing too, like Cubs fans probably think the Cardinals are a bigger rival than the White Sox. You know what I mean? Because they're division rivals, and they had to be jealous of those Cardinals teams in the '80s. I mean, come on, Cardinals made a couple World, get the World Series a couple times, and the Cubs made it to the playoffs in '84. I think that was it for like a long time there.
As you say, the Cubs and being arrogant, like you win one World Series in like 100 years, and now it's like, I don't know, you have to win it every year. I was like, it's kind of, I don't know.
And they came up pretty quickly, because I remember going to Wrigley Field in 2007, and that ballpark was like as bare bones as you could get it. Like it was like you walked around and they didn't even have like a big scoreboard. They just had like an organ in between innings. Now I went there. I mean, like the whole thing, it looks super modern, and it's state of the art. Even they took the bullpens off the sides and put them underneath, and so they're like, it's super. It's almost like the Yankees, where it's all temperature controlled and everything. So it's come a long way. So let's go to another subject here. So let's have Kevin. What would you like to talk about?
Let me see the board. All right, let's see here. How about we do? Let's do show and tell.
Show and tell. Awesome.
Because I have something. I actually want to donate to the Halo Haven guys if I can find it here. I'm switching it up on you, Michael.
Okay.
So one thing that we like to collect was when I used to go to all the card shows and stuff like this, and sometimes they make these commemorative envelopes. And this is the first part. The second part is what I have for Chris. They make stuff like this. It's like, this is like Bob Boone when he set the record for like most games caught, and we got signed by him, which I was like, okay, that's a really random record though, but that's something to keep track of. But then I found next to that, and my mom actually wrote this game here. I have a ticket stub to Friday, July 15th, 1988. And this is Bob Boone's 2000 game as a catcher, and I have it signed, so I want to send that to the Halo Haven guys. I thought they'd like that. So
that's really nice. That's really cool.
They're really it's just so random. Like, why do we have these tickets and signed? And this tells you how old this ticket is. See Ticketron.
I got one just like that over here to my left.
Yeah, awesome. Chris and Johnny have a bunch of older stuff like that just kind of. It's funny. Johnny's doing a little work to his house, and he's telling me all the stuff he's like pulling out. That he's like, oh yeah, I forgot I had this, or I didn't know I had that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm finding things that. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I've always been a collector. Chris and I we did during the real big COVID shutdown, we were doing the Angels Memorabilia Challenge on Halo Haven and on my personal Instagram. And I got a lot. It was easy for me to just come in here and pick something. But right now you're putting me on the spot. So I got to.
I know. See, we're both in Johnny's house. So I don't have anything of mine in here, but I can find. You go first then.
I guess
I know I'm putting you guys on the spot here, but I wanted to get that in there because I knew I had to find where that was, and I didn't know where any of my stuff was because I used Michael had a box of my best stuff, so I finally got back to him because he was near the fire, so he's like, "You better get your stuff."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, I got my treasure trove behind me."
So this is the Amazing Los Angeles Angels coloring book from 1962, I believe.
Oh my goodness.
That's awesome.
It was made for, I believe it was made for kids, and they have caricatures here that you're supposed to color, and they have like a little backstory to each player. So you have a bunch of LA Angels on here. You have like L.B. Pearson, Bo Belinsky, Dean Chance, Jim Fregosi, but yeah, it's from 1962, and I don't know if they sold it at the stadium or what, but it only cost 60 cents.
Wow.
Thank you. I'm glad I asked just to see that book.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
And
with me, like,
go ahead.
no,
Oh,
Oh.
he's muted. Okay.
Daniel, I think your
Yeah,
microphone is muted.
am I back?
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we got.
Wow, that was weird. So anyway, so I was saying I'm more of a new school, I guess, collector with stuff, bobbleheads, stuff like that. But one of the things I've come to try to get signatures and kind of works into the minor league stuff. Some of the minor leaguers are working up through the system. So this is one of Johnny's, but it kind of leads into what my thing is. I don't have it here, but this is a signed autograph photo of Brandon Marsh,
Nice.
the Angels. I don't know if he's considered number 1 or number 2 prospect now with the Joe graduation. But the thing I have at my house that I really enjoy was we saw him 2 spring trainings ago. So that would have been 2019 spring training. Got to know him, got to talk to him a lot over there. And actually ended up seeing his game used spring training jersey at Angel Stadium, where they have that are the game section. I'm pretty sure you guys are probably familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up buying that, and then last year's Arizona Fall League, going down there, making a trip with my brother, day trip, going down there, getting it signed by him and all that stuff too. So that's probably my first real jersey signature I've got of his game used 2019 spring training jersey. It was the one that he wore when the Angels came back to town and they played the Dodgers for those 2 freeway series preseason games or whatever. So I got that. It's authenticated, all signed. I probably gonna get a couple more photos signed by him and throw it up in a frame and stuff like that. So it's cool. Again, minor leaguers are really cool to go and talk to and kind of get to know better, and hope that they make it big. And when they do, it's pretty cool to see them kind of grow through the system and make it where now you're watching them on TV, and it's kind of crazy to see guys like Joe Adele and Jemai Jones and guys like that we've actually seen at Inland Empire, 2-3 years ago, now make their debut with the Angels this last year.
Yeah, it's super cool, and collecting baseball cards, and they actually have like the I think the Bowman sets have like all the prospects that come out. So like there's guys like there's a guy named Victor Mesa, which I'm sure that. Yeah, and then there's also Victor Mesa Jr., which it's oh, look at that, he got the card right.
Bowman, Jemai Jones.
Yeah, exactly. So you actually are starting to know about these guys even before everything. I mean, then when Kevin and I would go to like the Arizona Fall League, we'd see all these guys, and it's like, oh my, like we saw Acuna, and then Pete Alonso was there. I went last year, and is it Christian Pache, the guy for the
the Braves center fielder?
Yeah, but I mean, they were calling him Christian Pash. It's like they're mispronouncing his name and everything. So, it was Ronald Acuna, but and then now it's Ronald Acuna Jr. It's like they finally get their name. When after they get to the big leagues and stuff like that. So.
Mike Stanton is now Giancarlo Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton, right? Exactly.
For a while.
David Arias, David Ortiz to you. Yeah. There's a lot of those types of things, right? Yeah. So what I have to share is actually something pretty cool. I'm gonna actually leave this one right here. Let me see if I can find the other ones. I actually have, because I got back into card collecting. Hall of Fame baseball cards is I have an association with them. If you go to hofbc.com, they do like breaks. So basically, you basically buy into it, and they'll actually break it for you on camera.
Right.
Eric Newton is actually a part of Dodger Films. They actually have like a softball series that he's a part of, and some other stuff. It's very popular. Dodger Films has like 1 million subscribers on YouTube, so hopefully can do collaboration. I've been trying to work that for a long time. But the thing I'm bringing to the board, Angels related, is a Vladimir Guerrero Sr.
Ooh.
This is a 1 of 1. It is actually
cool.
Let's see if I can. Yeah, so it's got part of his jersey in there, and it says what is it? 20 multi-home run games. So right.
Wow.
So that's pretty impressive. And yeah, 1 of 1. So like this is the only card that exists of this. So super cool. I have like a couple like I love this. This is called Topps Luminaries, and this one. The Guerrero is actually from 2019. This one was from 2018 Topps. This is a Mariano Rivera 1 of 1. So yeah, this was actually before he was a Hall of Famer. So that was pretty cool. And I have a Chris Bryant one. Actually, let me see if I can find that real quick. And I actually, the cool thing is I actually have a couple of these.
Junior.
You have a junior, yeah. So I have father and son. They have other ones like this, like Juan Marichal. So super cool. And I actually I'm going to do a video, hopefully today, cross my fingers, of another Hall of Famer that, and it's a 1 of 1, and it's very interesting because the person that this is has a very interesting fact that I'm not sure anybody will ever achieve in baseball ever again. So he's a member of 2 institutions that I don't know if that could happen. I don't think it could happen today. So very interesting. So I'll actually have a video of going up of that as well. All right, so let's go back to the board. Mark Viquez was actually, let me go back to this real quick. Cubs, 84 and 89 division champs.
Right, I forgot 89.
He makes a very good observation that Wrigley Field, tourist attraction. I went to the White Sox park. I will 100% agree with this. The White Sox is a guaranteed rate field, which is probably the worst name in baseball.
It's been like 5 times, I think, in the last 6 years. It seems like there's always some different name with it.
Yeah, so I loved it. I thought everybody there was great, and he's right. The real baseball fans are there, so definitely highly check that out. Yeah, Kevin went there as well. He also says that Bauer to the Mets. I'm not sure if that's a speculation or a fact, so might want to look that up.
I mean, what the Mets will, I'll say something. What the Mets will have going for them is that new owner that's supposed to buy it, and he's supposed to be like the. I looked it up. Like his net worth is like twice as much as the next richest owner. So, so they're talking about him with getting JT Realmuto, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if him at least putting in some kind of offer to Bauer, whether he takes it or not, I don't know. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting with the Mets because that new owner, I mean, he's by far gonna be the richest owner in baseball, and with if he's willing to pay the luxury tax and all that stuff, more power to him.
I think there's a lot of pressure on the Mets being a large market, the largest market team, and really kind of not doing well. I said that the Chicago White Sox, ironically enough, I said that they actually pulled kind of a New York Mets move in signing all the people they did, Grandal, and all the players that they did. They kind of went for it and didn't make the playoffs. So buying your teams is not sometimes the solution.
Right.
Yeah. Just look at the Rays.
Yeah.
I knew that was
But not like the White Sox were drawing that well. Even like last year when I went on a Monday night, it was like it's pretty empty in there. But you could see like the young guys they had coming up too. It's a combination, If they have money to spend and they have the young guys coming up like a Giolito and a Jimenez and all those guys.
And Robert and right.
Can you imagine if they had Tatis Jr. still?
Oh, totally. That's it, totally. And
James Shields.
Yeah.
Right. But you gotta give something to get something. So it's like that's what happens. And at the time, he was just a prospect. Right. So let's go on with Trevor Bauer. I know that Daniel, that was one of your topics. How do you? I mean, like he's been very prominent on social media. He's been very outspoken. He's taken Rob Manfred to task for a lot of his inconsistencies. I'll say. So, what do you have to say about that?
I like that stuff. That stuff needs to be out there as far as if baseball comes out. Like I know he's been a real big hey, you want to grow the game, but yet you have blackouts to local markets. How are you supposed to grow the game that way? Like stuff like that, I 100% agree with, and I'm glad he's out there on Twitter and kind of doing his thing that way. It's just with me, it's funny too because he knows exactly how much power he has, and he knows exactly how much people are kind of looking or hang on every word. So I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago, he had like a series of tweets saying, hey, Angel fans, what should I know about Angels? Or, hey, Dodger fans, looks like you could use some more pitching. Or, hey, like, so to me, that kind of trolly stuff, it kind of gets annoying for me a little bit because he knows exactly like every fan base could use a Bauer, and he knows that. And he just like, hey, Washington fans, after my meeting, where should I go, check out and stuff like that. To me, that's what kind of gets a little bit annoying, but I do really like how he does talk about topics that you would think would get him in trouble, and him just not overall having a I don't care if it does kind of attitude.
Well, and it is interesting because, when he was first starting to do this kind of stuff when he was in Cleveland, it was really negative. Next thing you know, he's on the Reds, and it was just being like, oh, this guy's potential, but you don't want him on your team, because you think this negative stigma, and all of a sudden then he did so well this year, and people have embraced it. But Michael, all this stuff that Daniel was talking about, it's like a wrestler. You know what I mean? He's just he's just working. He's working everybody, and of course, because why would you not? It's not just trolling. He's just trying to get his contract and get his money, and he should. And I love it. It's like all just character and gimmick, and that I kind of embraced that too from Michael and I's wrestling background. Like, of course, good job, because why sit silent? It's like if you ever watch a UFC. You see the guy like, hey, who do you want to fight next? And, the guy who goes, oh, I'll fight whoever they put in front of me. No, come on, you guys have a guy ready to point out. If you want to make more money, which in the end, that's what you want to do. If you're a fighter, if you're a baseball player, you want to get paid too. It's not just, you got to put it out there. And this is a big chance for him. And the Reds, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep him. No. But the other thing besides money is, does a team want to bring an outspoken player like that in? There's going to be some teams and owners who are like, no, it's going to be a headache.
Yeah, that's a big issue with him. Yeah, that's a big issue with him because when you look at the Angels, who are quote unquote a front runner, they've never been a team that brings in a guy like that. Reggie Jackson back in the day, but you look at the Angels' track record. They don't like these guys who come in here and are outspoken. They had a Jose Guillen in 2004 who was that guy, and he got cut. He was like one of the top offensive leaders on that team that year, and him being outspoken against Mike Scioscia, they cut him. So the Angels have had that track record of like, we don't want a guy who's going to be in the media, who's going to make a lot of noise. But this Bauer's definitely a guy that the Angels need. He's a guy that any team needs. So do the Angels or any other team say, we can put all this aside and bring him just on talent alone? And he knows that.
The funny part is too is, okay, let's say he comes in. This only gimmick, this thing he's doing right now, or how he's going through social media, only works if you're performing.
And he's performing.
He's performing, but the first chance that he's not, it might get ugly. Like people, and you know how fans are. They're gonna be like, shut up and play, or whatever. But as long as it's working right now, it's all good. I'm just worried about the back end of it because what's the saying? Father Time's undefeated. What's going to happen then? But Johnny hit on the head where it's like everybody can use a Bauer. So it's going to be who wants to bring him in and who's willing to kind of. That's just Bauer being Bauer. Like you have Manny being Manny. Now you're gonna have a Bauer being Bauer kind of.
Yeah. So do you see him as a 1, 2, or 3 pitcher?
I see him on the Angels. He's a 1.
He's a 1.
Right. Yeah.
I think very few rosters will see him as like a 2. Like if he's in New York, obviously he's a 2 behind Cole. If he's in LA, he's probably a 2 behind Bueller.
Houston, if Verlander's healthy, 2 behind Verlander.
Right, but for the majority of all the other teams, I definitely see him as a 1.
On the Mets, he might be a 3.
Yeah,
Mets might be a 3. Yeah, I mean, Syndergaard and DeGrom, especially after behind DeGrom for sure. So he would still probably be one of the best pitchers the Angels have had in. I don't know, since like Jared Weaver's like super prime.
And Jared Weaver in his prime wasn't a guy that you would say, this guy's great.
He was always like under the radar nationally as far as you look up and, wow, he's won like 18, 19 games. It was a quiet 18 games. So
the Angels haven't had an ace like that since Bartolo Colon.
Cy Young,
Maybe Garrett Richards before he snapped his leg. I mean,
that was like, this guy's showing that he can do something, but he never became that guy.
Right.
So.
I think Garrett Richards' biggest thing too, he would have a game where it showed that potential, like, wow, this guy can be an ace, but he was never able to put 3 starts together or even like a full season together to have that Cy Young type year. You're right. That one year where he did,
he was dealing that year.
That year, that probably could have been the year, but the years leading up and the years afterwards, you have a game where it's like, dude, this guy's untouchable. And then for whatever reason, it wouldn't translate over to the next game or a couple games after that.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of Matt Shoemaker when he was with the Angels. Like, I would see him doing great for like a month, and then something would happen, and I'm just like,
right.
Or like when he got hurt multiple times too. It's just like, oh gosh.
Well, that's been the Angels' MO.
Games that year.
Yeah.
The Angels would have these great starts, and all of a sudden they'd be on the DL. It's like that. Oh, it's like the worst. Yeah,
right.
I see Kevin like. We'd be walking to the game, and the pitchers would get scratched, and he'd be all bummed out, even like before first pitch.
Yeah.
And then every single year, I get my frustration. Well, all right, Angels off season, we're going to it. Every single year, I feel like I have to say the same thing. Get a pitcher, just get a good pitcher, and then I see they get Rendon or like something like that. Can't you just buy an arm for once, please?
But they have when they had Harvey and Lincecum and stuff like that. They just can't they go out and get these guys, but it's like those are the people that they get.
Yeah, that's been the problem. They've been banking on let's sign these guys on a 1-year deal and let's hope that they become what they used to be, or they're banking on promise. Dude, Tyler Skaggs, he passed away. I get it. I he was a close friend of the Halo Haven, us, and All Angels podcast, but we're always banking on him to turn that corner. We're banking on Heaney to reach that goal.
That next level.
The next level, yeah. Now it's time, I think, and I think they know, dude, we can't bank on that now. Let's go out and get somebody. So I really think this year they're going to try to go and get Bauer and maybe even a Stroman.
Oh, that'd be a nice pickup. I like Marcus Stroman. I think he's great. He's always been solid. A good guy too.
Yeah, he would be even if they just get a Stroman and Bauer goes somewhere else. I think that's still kind of a win.
Oh yeah.
Those are definitely probably the top 2 starting pitching names in the free agent market right now. So, barring any trades, and it might be finally, again, it depends on what who the new GM is and what their kind of philosophy is, but it might be time to kind of part with some of these guys, like a Jordan Adams, like a
Jeremiah
Jackson, like and might have to bring in a pitcher that isn't a free agent, but might have like 2 years, 3 years left on their deal and can help the team now and just deal with it later. But they've been really reluctant to separate themselves from their prospect, which makes a lot of sense because when Epler came in from the Dipoto area, the minor league system was just decimated.
Terrible.
There wasn't,
it was terrible.
You're talking about your top prospect at a time was like Taylor Ward and Matt Dice, and these guys are now just struggling to stay on a major league roster, not really a real contributor in any way. So now we have a Joe, and you hear great things about him. You have a Brandon coming up that you hope to hear great things about him when he makes it. You got Reed Detmers, the pitcher out of Louisville that they drafted. A lot of people are really high on him. Chris Rodriguez, same thing. So now hopefully you're able to get some kind of pitching in return if they decide to part ways with some of those guys.
Yeah, I think the last real prospect they traded was when they traded Newcomb for Simmons.
Yeah, and even now look at that because
that deal.
Yeah, Newcomb can't even break the major league roster right now, or the playoff roster either. So
I remember in IE, I was like, wow, this guy is a can't miss. Next thing I know, I'm like, why are they doing this guy? Because I'm always like, he's just hard. I'm like, it worked out. But now, I mean, going to Simmons, you figure that he's going to go somewhere else now, and that and that's going to free up some money to get a pitcher.
Right.
Yeah, a guy I didn't hear in that conversation is Griffin Canning.
Yeah, a kid that I think the Angels did a really good job with him. Drafted him in the second round. Had issues in high school with his shoulder, I believe, so he kind of slipped, but they're able to get him second round. Rested him his whole first year. and then his second year, which I think you're probably going to see this with Reed next year, is he's in not Salt Lake. He's in Inland Empire for like 3 starts, bump him up. He's in AA for 2 starts, bump him up, and then finishes the season out in Salt Lake. Like you can see some kind of a movement with that with Reed next year. But yeah, Canning again is, we're talking about these pitchers, whether it be Stroman, Bauer, Cole, Bueller, like these top end starters. All these guys are like 26, 27, 28, which is, still is fairly young. But when we talk about the Angels rotation, we're talking about a Canning who's 22. We're talking about other young pitchers that are 21, 23. So
Patrick Sandoval
is like 21, I think, or Brea 21.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, these guys are still a couple years out from hitting that kind of stride. So, I mean, it might be hard now, but you fast forward 3 years when these guys are getting into that 26, 27 age range where you start seeing a lot of the pitchers flourish and kind of come into their own at that time.
Yeah, and how does Ortoni fit into all this? I mean, he kind of disrupts that pitching as well.
Yeah, we talked to we had Mark Gubas on our podcast. Our last podcast?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah,
and we brought up the question about Ortoni, and I asked them, do the Angels rely on Ortoni being a top end pitcher, or do they kind of look another direction and say, okay, this is the guy, we're going to give him another chance, but we're not relying on him being a top end rotation guy. Mm-hmm. And he pretty much said, you let him do what he wants to do, because if he can be what he was his rookie year in a bigger sample size, then that can immensely help the Angels. But there's no way that Ortoni is a number 1, 2 guy right now.
Yeah, he was even talking about, he's not even like a 3 or a 4. He's like a extra guy. So they have to go out, and this is Gooby talking, has to go out and this offseason and sign, trade, whatever, for the rotation as if he's not going to pitch. Right. And then if he does give you, let's just say in a full season, he gives you 120 innings or whatever like that, then great. That's extra. That's something that you weren't planning on, but you still need to build a rotation without him in mind, just because of the injury, just because of the two-way nature of him not playing a full season. But yeah, I think Ortoni will continue to do two-way, but I don't think he's going to be a guy that's like, he's our ace, he's our number 1. It's like, no, he's kind of going to have to be an extra guy that if he does great, he has number 1 stuff, but because of the injury history and the two-way, he's going to have to be like an extra piece, not a 1, 2, or 3. He's just going to have to be kind of off to the side a little bit.
And a pleasant surprise, probably the most pleasant surprise this year was Dylan Bundy.
Oh, definitely.
Now, we talked about like the Trevor Gahills and the Matt Harveys, and I'm laughing because I'm like, of course you're going to sign like a Tehran and a Dylan Bundy to a 1-year deal, and I'm like, oh God, it's going to be the same thing as those guys. And Tehran, obviously, he had his own stuff going on before he never started. I could almost call it a wash with all happened to him this season. But Bundy, he's probably earning himself a contract. It's a good to have a veteran arm in there too.
Yeah,
right. He's got 1 more year arbitration, right?
Yeah, arbitration this year.
Okay.
I think that's a guy that if next year he wins you 10 games, hey, bro, that's dude, do it. That's great.
You're exactly.
But he gives you innings. That's the thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because the Angels, I think it was like in 2019, at points like their bullpen was like the only thing you can count on.
Man.
And I'm just like, and then when that died down, it's like, great, they're done for.
Yeah.
So were you guys glad or sad the Angels season was only 2 months?
I'm always sad just because I enjoyed just watching. Like,
right.
I understand you want your teams to do well. You understand you want your teams to perform well. But, at the end of the day, I'm always excited just to get home and watch the game.
Right.
For me, like I don't have a whole lot of other like TV shows. You know what I mean? So it's like it's always, especially this season when everything was on the West Coast. I know I get home, whatever, eat, take a shower, get ready, boom, 7 o'clock, game's on, and I'm good for the rest of the day. So I always enjoyed that kind of, having that planned out my day, my night, or whatever to it. So, I was kind of disappointed. It was only 2 months, 60 games, but I just enjoy watching it in general. That's why with the playoffs on, I'm always having it on, regardless of who's playing or the teams involved.
Yeah, I'm with Dan. And, my day revolves around go to work, come home, take a shower, grab a few beers, watch the game. And, you know, as bad as they were this year, I was watching every single game.
Right.
And as bad as they were this year again, they were in it with the last 3 games left on the season.
Yeah, I mean, the last week, I mean, granted, it was like a long shot. You had to have people lose, and they had to win. But
meant something.
But yeah, exactly. It still meant something, and that's, I guess, as a fan, regardless of what the record is, if you're in it the last week of the season, that's kind of all you can ask for.
Luckily for me, I'm probably just as big a Laker fan as I am an Angels fan.
And this year, so he had a little both.
I was like, okay, I got the Lakers to watch after this. So next year, though, that might be a problem. But you know, I was just happy to have baseball this year, though. You know, I would have loved for them to have had at least an 80-game season. That's 20 more games, just in maybe another month of baseball. Yeah. But I was happy that we got to watch real Major League Baseball this year.
Yeah, I agree.
So, how did you guys like the extra teams being in the playoffs? Would you want that to be a permanent thing?
I like the extra teams. I don't know if we need that many teams.
Yeah.
They need to figure out a way to incentivize winning the division.
Right.
Since every team now plays on that wild card round, there's no real perk to winning your division. And I think they need to figure something out, whether it's a couple buys or I don't know, some kind of an advantage to winning your division. They need some kind of
there'd be like I think 2 teams in each conference get a buy at least.
Right.
I mean, they get more incentive that way.
They need to incentivize winning the division, because it just seemed like winning the division didn't mean as much as other years past. And I think they need to do something like that. They can tweak it. I like maybe adding 1 each per league next year. But yeah, they need something. They need to incentivize the division winners to go out and win a division. You know, not just it makes a trade deadline better, because now teams are trying to make moves. You know, teams aren't holding pat and just like, okay, well, we might not win a division, but we're still in the playoffs and we have just as much as an advantage as the next team. So I like the extended playoffs, but I think they do need to tweak it just a little bit here or there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And in a 162 game season with the wild card playoff format, you can have a team can have a terrible, like they can lose every game for a month and still make that wild card, right? Mm-hmm. So if you expand it, what's that?
The Nationals last year won, you know.
Yeah, and you can just get in on the last day and win the World Series.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and even this season, I talked to like a handful of guys. Some are fans of some of the people that actually work in baseball, and said, "Hey, if the season was 10 games longer, did the Angels make the playoffs? Because they're playing their better baseball then." He's like, "Yeah, they would probably make the playoffs." So that shows like they had a terrible beginning, but they were still kind of in that playoff, in the hunt all the way in. And if the season's a little bit longer, they probably could make it in there.
Yep. 100%. I know, Kevin, you're probably running pretty close to having to leave.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately, I gotta go. I get to work and scare some children and some families for Halloween. All right.
In possibly the scariest Halloween of all time.
Oh, believe me. I mean, I'm gonna make sure they stay 6 feet away from me. You have to use a weapon.
Everybody's The Walking Dead, right?
2020 is more scary than what I'm about to be working on tonight.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
But thanks for having me on, guys. Michael, I'll see you on Tuesday. Hopefully, Daniel and Johnny, we can do this again.
Absolutely.
Wrestling sometime, Johnny.
Yeah.
Talk about music, talk about wrestling. We got a bunch of topics now.
We have so much to talk about.
It might be a whole show potpourri. But thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kevin.
Have a good one.
All right. So thanks to Kevin Lyon for jumping on. We still have Johnny Maggs and Daniel on. So we've actually kind of delved into some of the Angels off season. So maybe maybe we should talk about some of the other things. I know that Simba actually opted out at the end of the year. Tell me more about that. I didn't really understand.
Weird.
It was weird. How did that all come about?
Nothing really came out publicly as far as why. I mean, he put out a statement saying, the PA has done a good job about giving us a option to play or not to play, so I'm exercising the right, blah, blah, blah. It almost felt like to me, and again, this is not confirmed, or I know for sure.
Speculating.
Yeah, but it almost felt like the negotiations with the Angels probably weren't going where he wanted it to go. Felt like he did enough to kind of set his market for the offseason and didn't necessarily want to take a risk of getting hurt or slumping for the last week and maybe hurting his free agent value. So that's my kind of feel, because the way certain things were worded, it was almost like a thank you, goodbye kind of stuff. So almost like, I'm going to go test the market. So I honestly think probably communications broke down at some point with them and with him and the Angels.
And I think for the Angels, Simba did great for us. He gave us like 4 good seasons, but I think the Angels can look at that trade and say we won, and move on forward. Now that we have a guy like David Fletcher who can play shortstop, you have a guy in Franklin Barreto that they picked up that can, slide into that second base position, and they have a really good infield without Simba, and. But the way he went out definitely left us kind of scratching our head a little bit.
And then even some fans that we've talked to too kind of put a bad taste in their mouth as far as they felt him quitting on the team, just ride it out kind of deal. So it was weird. Some people liked it, or some people understood it, I should say. Some people just did not like it at all and felt like he was quitting on the team. So it was definitely a polarizing action that Simmons did this year before the end of the year.
Yeah, a guy that the Angels lost, Tommy La Stella. I love that guy. I think he was like really good and really great for the Angels. I don't think that they probably saw it when he came over to the Angels,
right?
But when they lost him, they lost a little bit in him, and he played great. And
that's an option too. He's a free agent at the end of this year. That's the main reason why they traded him was free agent at the end of the year. Get somebody for something, and then if everything works out, and bring him back and play first or second base again. Kind of like Johnny was saying, you have Fletcher playing short. So I mean, you could see him back in Angels uniform. I'm not sure what he wants as far as money and how that kind of fits into the whole Angel budget. But La Stella's. It's funny, we were talking about the 1-year deal guys for pitching and like the kind of long shots, but the long shots that Epler took position player wise, a lot of them panned out, whether you're talking about a La Stella or even a Brian Goodwin.
Trevor, Dylan Bundy.
But position players also worked out. So, he's one of those guys that just ended up being like, hey, we just need to get him more at-bats for him to develop the player he is. And I don't know if they feel comfortable doing that again, finding a, not a no-name, but finding a guy off a team's bench that just isn't getting enough at-bats and then plugging them in and hopefully doing the same thing La Stella did. But, he was a great signing for the Angels when they brought him over, or not even signing, a trade for, I think it was like for cash. So it wasn't even for a player in general. But he performed, got an all-star in 2019 and did really well. And it kind of sucks that 2019 season got cut short because of that broken leg.
Freak accident. But it was a great piece.
Yeah. How'd you guys feel about Rendon this year?
Started off really slow, and that was due to injury. He missed that summer camp and didn't really get any live at bats. We talked to Rhett Bollinger, MLB.com beat writer for the Angels, on our show, and he talked about how seeing real live action from another team makes a difference. He missed that summer camp. He missed those 3 games against the Dodgers and the Padres before the season started. Kind of got thrown in there, and he struggled, but he turned it around. And I wish he would have had
more of the season,
more games, because he would have definitely produced. But he produced at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think he did exactly what you wanted him to do after the initial struggles. But definitely a piece in the lineup that is going to pay dividends for the Angels for the next handful of years for sure. So, and defensively, he's great too. So definitely a top, probably top 3 third baseman in the league right now. So it definitely will be a lot of fun to watch him throughout the years, and hopefully a whole season next year, him and Trout going back to back and stuff like that. So, it's a good, I guess, if you're not going to get a Cole, I guess that's the next best thing to get. Was a Rendon, because some of the other pitchers you just weren't too sure about. I mean, obviously Strasburg signed with the Nationals, and he was injured almost the whole year. Wheeler, I think, had a pretty good year, but he publicly said he was never planning to come out west. So I don't know how much the Angels were really involved in that one. And Garrett Cole was the only one they really seemed to go for seriously and miss out on. But Rendon,
that was ridiculous money.
Yeah, but Rendon being the next best guy, I think definitely helps out the team offensively. And if they can get a pitcher this year, it kind of brings everything full circle.
Yeah. How did you think about Madden this year?
Tough situation that everybody was put in.
Yeah.
The Angels had to go and get Joe Madden because he was available, and you just don't let him get away. But I also didn't really understand why they signed Osmus to that contract and not give him another year to kind of prove himself.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe was put in a situation where, he didn't have a full spring training. Every team did. So it's kind of hard to make that excuse, but I understand it. But coming into his first full season with the Angels and, kind of getting to know these guys, he didn't really get to know them that well. But I think he did a decent job because, like I said, they turned it around at the end of the season. With 3 games left, they were still in it. So, considering how bad they started, They turned it around.
Yeah, when Joe got hired, I understood the move, like Johnny was saying. Managers now in baseball aren't necessarily what they were, back in the 90s and stuff like that, even the early 2000s. As far as making moves, a lot of it's coming from upstairs and just the kind of analytic part of the game. But, Joe's still a good manager. I don't know if he's like one of these top 5 managers in baseball kind of thing, but it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to – it just seems like by the end of the year, by the end of the 60 games, he was finally able to be like, okay, I know who I'm using out of the bullpen, because that was the biggest question, is he's using so many different guys in so many situations. It seemed like he finally was able to settle in on I'm using this guy in the 7th or this guy in the 9th, and it worked. So now going into the next season, let's see if that continues. But yeah, I just think, Joe's a great name. I just don't know how much more value he brings to winning a game compared to maybe like other managers. I think it's a great PR. I think it's great to get the fans in the stands if they were able to get into the stands. But, I still think he's a good manager. I just don't know if he's going to be like when you look back at a team, he's the reason why they made the playoffs, or he's the reason why they win a World Series. I don't think he's that type of manager, but I still think he's able to make the right moves at the right time.
Yeah. And he's won every place he's been with the Rays,
so
with the Cubs.
It might take a little bit of time. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I just think he's also had great partnerships within those situations with the uppers, with the player development and the scouts, and like Theo, obviously with Chicago. So I think who they bring in next is going to have to be a big part of that. It's not just Joe by himself. I think he needs a good partner in that in the front office to work with. Yeah,
I totally agree. And so let's go back to the board. Let's talk about attending games next year. So looking forward, I mean, I knew. Okay, so this year, I think we had a guy that's on our show named John Talwar. And he was actually considering, if the Braves would have got into the World Series, he was not going to take a plane, but he was going to drive to Arlington and be a part of that. And he, it's like, that is a real dilemma, right? It's like with everything we know and everything. But if I actually looked at Global Life Fields, their policies. Trust me when I tell you that they're not adhering to those policies of social distancing and masks and stuff like that. It is, and unfortunately, actually, when they showed the Braves as what the wild card play-ins, they actually had a section out back where everybody was just all huddled together, and just I hate to say it, it's like, I want this thing to go away because I have been, without going into too much detail, I'm either in this room or in that room over there, since March.
Getting a little cabin fever.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love. My day job, I work remote, so it's not a big deal for me. But I lost the ability. My girlfriend and I, we travel around the country. That's how I get to go see all the baseball games, all the minor league teams. So that was obviously off the slate this year. But and also my girlfriend's immune compromised. So and we have older people in the house as well. So we have to be a little bit more diligent than others when it comes to this. And I understand getting out and being, all the things that come with that. The biggest thing for me is like, looking towards next year. The flu season and the end of the year, it's getting colder and all this stuff. I wish that I would feel better if because and Johnny, I don't know if you've watched any of this. Have you watched any of the New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Not the recent.
So we've been watching a lot lately. It's kind of something we've been watching to get through COVID. We actually have these little tournaments. We'll actually include you if you would like to be in there. It's actually pretty fun to watch. We'll stay up late at night and watch the tournament. But one of the things that Japan has been doing is they've been really super, super good about, having a seat in between the other spectators, adhering to masks. They also they've been encouraged not to cheer. Clapping only. They actually have and Major League Baseball did this too, where they have you can actually cheer and boo on an app. So they've actually come up with ways, and people are really on board. And then after the events end, I mean, it was only like maybe a third capacity, but like it looks now like it's maybe like 2/3, and they're getting back to it. But we've just kind of like gone like, hey, just sit anywhere you want and do whatever you want, and wear the mask on your chin, and it's like that. Those are the things that kind of make me worry about the future. But they also after the event ends, they actually are very cordial about how the certain sections can only leave, and they let the other people leave beforehand. I just don't think we'll get to that point. Therefore, I mean, it does. It kind of scares me a little bit. As far as I don't want to jump back in. I would love to. In fact, we have an event. There's an event in Palm Springs. There's a California Winter League that is every year, and we've gone there for the last 5 years, and it's been really great. And now they actually have Major League Baseball affiliation. I think with the Frontier League. And I want to go back, and it's like I don't know if I'm gonna have to be the hamster in the big bubble, It's like because I really would like to do it. I don't know what it's gonna look like. What's your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, like going into 2021, so me and my wife, we love going to baseball games. We also like going to Disneyland, and honestly, those are the two kind of the most confined areas for people in certain spots. It's just when everything does open, or even if it's at, percentage capacity or whatever, I still might be a little hesitant. Just like, I know when we go to baseball games with Johnny, myself, and Chris, Johnny and Chris love walking around talking to people. So like, I don't know if we'll be able to do all that. It might be one of those things where the only time I'm really probably gonna feel comfortable going to a game is like, okay, we'll go to the game, find our seats, boom, that's it. Like, don't really get up unless you absolutely have to. Maybe get up once to get food and a drink, okay, and that's it. But I don't see us as a group really going around making the rounds like we used to. At least not right away, because I think that's still something that is kind of like, that seems kind of not the smartest thing to do right now.
Yeah, and that's what we love to do is like, especially before the game, go out, shake hands, kiss babies. We like to. We do giveaways. We make buttons. I don't know if you guys follow us on our Instagram. Yep. We like to do button giveaways. We're crafty guys, so we do a lot of cool stuff. But we like to give back to the people that, listen to our show, follow us on Instagram. And we love to shake hands. We get a lot of hugs. We get a lot of high fives. It's going to be weird kind of to go, here, elbow me. But it's definitely going to be different. I think if we kind of get to some normalcy and we get to go to games, definitely going to wear a mask, definitely going to try to sit and stay far away, or at least 6 feet away from people. But that's what normal everyday life now. I've been going to work pretty much. I've been essential, I guess, since this all started. But yeah, like masks are just the thing now, and stay
kind of
away.
do it by second nature now. By now, it's something that I have one in my car. I have one in my locker at work. I have one
right in your back pocket,
and my golf bag. Like I have them all kind of spread out everywhere. Right. Going to a baseball game, like I said, I can see us. Okay, we're gonna sit here,
and we're not moving,
until the game's over or stuff like that. I think that's probably the thing I would do. But yeah, it's just you kind of mentioned it too, like on the games that you're watching on TV. It seems like there's a big cluster of people in certain areas, especially like those foul ball, home run kind of areas where where the ball flies more often. But I just it kind of makes me feel kind of weird seeing it all go on right now. Just kind of weird that we're in California and no one's in any kind of park, whether it's Disneyland or football stadiums. But you turn on the TV and there's Texas. They're in Arlington with that, or even college football going around, and it seems like they say they're at 25%, and then they show like a wide view of the stadium, and you're thinking to yourself, "There's no way that's 25% of what's going on." So
right.
It's kind of interesting to see how all that plays out, and we always have a trip planned out for spring training, so as of right now, we're still going to plan it and then kind of see what happens, but hopefully by March something good comes out of with a vaccine or something like that, and able to somewhat kind of normal.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. But the way that it's been going, like, I mean, one of my thing I said in March was I'll assess this in October. Well, here it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And, it's gotten worse. So it's like, so, and then now I'm just like, okay, well, I'll assess it in March. And if it's the same thing, I mean, like, I'd be stupid to say like, I'm going to put myself at risk, come home and give my immune compromised family how selfish, right? So
and we were there in March just before the shutdown, and we were in the left field in Tempe, shoulder to shoulder with everybody.
If you ever seen Tempe Stadium, the left field's like a grass hill for the most part. First come, first serve.
Yep.
And this is a Saturday game, so obviously it's packed, and we were on top of the people. And now look, I think that's the funniest part too. Now looking back at it, and even if you I watch like a movie, and the movie can be from like 2015 before any of this was even thought of. Yeah. And there's certain scenes where like everyone's like packed onto each other. I'm like, that just seems so weird now. Like
especially that, literally 3 days after that game,
they shut down
everything down.
Yeah.
And we were just with everybody, just right there, shoulder to shoulder, copying, cheering,
yelling, all that stuff.
So it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, my girlfriend, she actually has a fibromyalgia nonprofit, so she goes to Washington D.C. and actually like advocates, for higher percentages of money to go to the fibromyalgia research. So she's very diligent about that, and she was actually in Washington D.C. Now get this, so if she got there in the morning, they actually shut down those offices at noon. So it's never been the same since. So she was actually in the building when they shut it down, saying like, get out of here, basically.
Well, that's like so freaky too, because like at the time there's no information, and all of a sudden everyone's just telling you to leave. You're like, leave for what? Like, and then being in the area like Washington, where it's like all the political higher ups are there. Are we under attack? I can't imagine like the nerves and just kind of the anxiety that probably goes along with something like that.
Well, she's already has high anxiety, so you can imagine. Yeah. And then like she always has trouble flying. Now like flying, what we know about it is like, she's, she basically like she quarantined when she came home before like anybody even knew what quarantining was. Right. So she was just like, basically, you never know. And it's like, that's the whole thing. We don't know. But it's such a hard call, and it's like I said, I'm not gonna die. I'm also not gonna get sick. Like, I don't want the flu. If it's a flu, I don't want to get the flu. I'll stay home and I'll like all your stuff on social media. Trust me, I'll retweet it. Trust me. Yeah. But I just can't do it at this time, and so it's a lot's gonna have to change in the next 6 months, 5 months.
Yeah,
So,
it's gonna be quick before you know it too.
Yeah, for real. And all right, so like we're at an hour and 15, so maybe we can wind down with some. Let's wind down with some trivia. I actually have some trivia here, so part of our potpourri.
Johnny loves this.
Oh, do you like the trivia?
I feel like I'm good at it, but definitely more Angels trivia. But
okay.
Hey,
So
let's go for it.
Yeah, we don't limit it to just Angels. But sometimes I try to slant it for Kevin and Angelo. So I'm gonna go with this one. This is a very I would say very hard a trivia question. So let's do this. Which two Hall of Fame baseball players died on the same day?
Wow, that's hard.
Oh,
it is. And actually, two presidents actually died on the same day. Jefferson and Adams. They died on July 4th, 1826. So, Baseball Hall of Famers. This one's actually from. They here's a hint. They died on January 19th, 2013.
Oh, so it's fairly
so not that far ago.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Oh man,
that one's hard. 2013. Okay.
Man, I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. Oh, I'm stumped. I don't know why, but I don't know why a name, and I don't think he died in 2013, but I don't know why Yogi Berra came to mind, but I don't.
That's a good guess. That's a good.
I don't even know what year he died, but I don't know why. That's like the first name that popped in my mind when that came up, but I don't have any explanation why. Other than that, I am completely stumped.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got this one either. It's actually Stan Musial and Earl Weaver, both died on the same day.
Okay.
So very interesting. Okay, so that's obviously that's how difficult these questions are. So let me give you one from round one here. Now this is
there we go.
This is actually from the Los Angeles Times, and the name of the article is "Most Best Baseball Experts Strike Out on This One." So let's go with round one. What is the popular term for the medical procedure formerly known as the ulnar collateral ligament reconstruction?
You think as Angel fans we should become real familiar with this?
Former Angel Tommy John.
There you go. Nicely done. All right. So that is
what a big gap between that first question and that one.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so we're starting with the easy ones, and this is question 2 in round 1. So there's 4 questions in round 1. During the San Diego Padres 1974 home opener, someone grabbed the stadium public address microphone and rashly blurted out to the crowd, "I've never seen such stupid ball playing in my life." Who was he? 1974.
You have to think of some kind of a celebrity to be able to do that.
He actually is. He actually owned something that was pretty huge right now at the time.
Oh man.
Okay. Kevin's actually
Ray Kroc.
Kevin actually is on his way to work and still guessing for our first question. No, it was not McCovey. Nice.
Kroc.
Oh, what did you say, Johnny?
Kroc.
Ray A. Kroc.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nicely done. The Padres owner at the time. Yeah. Nicely done.
I was like, yeah, who has that much power? They can just grab a mic and start yelling over it.
So for those who don't know, he owned the McDonald's franchise at the time.
That movie is great. Founder. Great movie.
Right. All right. Number 3 on round 1. Which 3 players have amassed 1,000 hits for a team in the American League for the team and for a team in the National League? So if you need me to repeat that, I will.
So 1,000 hits in each league.
Yes.
Yeah.
Albert Pujols.
Does he have 1,000 hits already with the Angels?
I don't know.
Albert Pujols is one of them. Nicely done.
Okay. So there's 3.
There's 3.
Okay.
Well, why am I going to blank on his name? He's the only guy that won an MVP in both leagues.
Frank Robinson?
Yeah, is he on there?
That is not it.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think of guys who had success in both leagues.
3 in both leagues, or 2, or there's 3 in both leagues. Okay.
Oh man.
One is glaring.
Yes.
One is glaring.
Yastrzemski?
One is glaring.
Yes.
One is glaring.
Not Yastrzemski?
Not Yastrzemski, no.
One is glaring, huh? I should know that.
He's already been mentioned on the show today.
Willie McCovey? No,
Nope.
he didn't play in the American League.
No. I don't know. I'm stumped.
Yeah, Kevin says Frank Robinson too, which is not it.
I could probably, if I had him one time.
I'm stumped. I don't know.
1,000 for both leagues. That's a great accomplishment, no doubt. Vladimir Guerrero.
Boom.
Yeah.
Montreal Days. That is number 2. So who is the third one? He's actually hint is he played on both coasts.
Well, I don't think he played enough in the National League, but maybe Pudge Rodriguez.
That's a great guess, but it is not it.
Yeah, he didn't play on the West Coast. I think he played Texas.
Oh, well,
Texas,
yeah.
Yep.
Both coasts. So obviously you're talking like California.
Yep.
And then
Mark McGuire.
That's a great guess too. Not it.
So I'm thinking like a New York.
Ricky Henderson.
Oh shit.
That's a great guess too. Not it.
That's what I thought I was too. I was wow.
You'll be surprised. He's actually he's not really talked about in kind of a hit type of scenario.
Right.
But when I say him, you'll yep.
Who is it? I have no clue.
It is Dave Winfield. Yeah, with the Padres and Angels.
Padres, Yankees.
I'm sorry, Padres, Yankees. I was looking at the
Guerrero
with Expos and Angels.
Yeah, Expos and Angels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, so that is number 3. How many regular season games were on the schedule for each team in the American League in 1927?
1927. I mean, before they switched to 162, it was 154.
Boom!
Right?
Nailed it.
Yeah. I see.
Nailed it. Wow! So you guys got all 4 of the first round. So we're gonna we'll keep it going. We'll go to round 2 and see how far we get to an hour and a half here. So this is round 2. This is question 5. Who is the only player to win a National League MVP while playing for the Padres?
That has to be. Oh,
was it not Tony Gwynn?
No, it's Caminetti, wasn't it?
Boom! Daniel nailed it.
Yeah. It's my NL team.
Done. Yeah, because I think everybody would go to Gwynn right away for sure.
Right. That's like super obvious, and then that's why I was like, wait, I could. When you said that the only, I was like, you mean Gwynn never? Because I knew Caminetti won it, but I'm like, wow, Gwynn never won one.
98 season.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Round 2, question 2. Which of these 3 major league managers have won both and lost 20 World Series games?
Oh, smokes. So a guy that gets there a lot. I would think Torrey's up in there somewhere.
He is not. There's 3 of them. And they're not the ones that you would expect.
Okay. 20 lost and 21.
I think of teams who've been there.
That's why I thought.
So
kind of have to reach back. Casey Stengel is one of them. Nicely done, Johnny. Very impressive.
Take him to trivia night. I have no clue.
So we're going back a bit, right?
Yeah, these next 2 are pretty far back.
Okay, so then you got to think.
I'll take the spot of Angelo on this one. I'm the young guy. I don't know what the heck's going
on. But I always tell Angelo there's no excuse because there's the internet. You guys have the internet.
Yeah, I'm trying not to type it up right now.
Man, I mean, I know.
It's like on the tip of your tongue kind of deal.
I just can't think because I watch Ken Burns baseball and all that stuff. So I know all these managers. I just can't think of their Oakland's or not Oakland now, but the A's back in the day.
Yeah, Philadelphia A's.
Philadelphia. I can't think of his name. Then you got the dude before Stengel for the Yankees. I can't remember his name.
Wait, he's Stengel. You got it.
Yeah,
that's one of them. Stengel.
But I can't think the person before that. So
Kevin Lyon says DeRocher.
Leo DeRocher. That's what I was thinking.
That's not it, actually.
That's not one of them. Okay.
No, but I think you might be close, actually, Johnny. So keep on going. You're literally in the ballpark, literally and figuratively.
I'm trying to think of these teams, but man, what was the Brooklyn Dodgers manager?
Oh,
come on. Man, I'm gonna have to take an L on this one.
Yeah,
I can't think of the name.
I think you guys did good. You guys came way close. So the answers are Casey Stengel, John McGraw, and Walter Alston.
Walter Alston.
Yeah, and Kevin came in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, look at this.
I know all those names.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't know how to apply them.
Yeah.
All right. So that was a good one. This is interesting. In 2004, the All-Star Game MVP, American League Championship Series MVP, National League Championship Series MVP, and the World Series MVP all were born in the Dominican Republic. Name those 4 players. 2004.
David Ortiz,
NLCS MVP. Oh, I'm sorry, ALCS MVP, right.
Okay.
It's Dominican, so what? It has to be Alberts in there somewhere.
NLCS MVP.
Okay.
So you got 2.
Ramon Martinez?
No, but very close.
2004. So you said World Series too. So who
Red
won
Sox.
Okay, so Ortiz.
No, he won the ALCS.
So who got the?
That's what I'm trying to think.
Manny? No.
That's it, Manny.
Yeah.
World Series MVP.
All-Star.
So you got who is the All-Star MVP? This one may be the hardest one to get.
Oh.
2004. I'm trying to remember what.
And you said NL won the the All-Star game that year, right? Is that what it was? No? Doesn't say who won the All-Star game that year.
Yeah, it doesn't say, but I'm trying to.
All-Star game 2004.
This one will be hard. I don't even associate him as Dominican Republic.
Oh.
Alex Rodriguez.
That's a good guess, but no.
No.
Um.
And for some reason, when I say it, you might remember it, but I certainly wouldn't remember it.
Okay, 2004. I'm trying to remember where it was.
He's probably good at this time, but I mean, kind of faded off where you don't remember him.
Man, I'm drawing a blank too.
Dominican Republic, 2000.
But he's like I said, you won't necessarily think of him as a DR player.
I remember those years very well, so I'm trying to remember like who stood out to me as a all-star at that time.
I was a junior in high school, so
no excuses.
I was like 24.
I was 34.
Gosh, I'll take a guess here, and I'll say 2004 Dominican Republic. Let me say.
Oh, Pedro, that's a good one.
Not it.
Not it.
I already guessed that.
I do.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go with.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. Nomar Garcia Parra.
Oh wow,
he's a Mexican. He's Mexican, but he said that he didn't associate
him as DR. Yeah,
exactly. He's masquerading as the Dominican Republic. No, it is Alfonso Soriano.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten that one either.
I thought he was Cuban.
Yeah, it's like Kike Hernandez. It's like I think that he's Mexican. He's Puerto Rican, right?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. All right, so this is the here is the last one. Let's see, round 2. Yeah, this will be the last one. What are the nicknames of the Pacific Coast League teams that play in Albuquerque and El Paso?
Duke and Missions.
No, the missions are in San Antonio.
Oh, San Antonio.
So
That's
one
right.
of them is the Isotopes, no?
Isotopes. Yeah, they used to be the Dukes when they were with the Dodgers.
Isotopes.
That was a long time ago. They're now the Isotopes. Nicely done. And El Paso.
El Paso.
Chihuahuas.
Boom! Daniel nailed it.
Nice.
Nicely done. Extra bonus points if you can tell me their affiliations.
Chihuahuas is San Diego, and Isotopes are
Not the Blue Jays.
the Marlins for a while. I don't know if they still are.
I know this only because I did a video on it where I went through Colorado and then down through Albuquerque. So if you check the Beer Baseball blog videos, yeah, I went to Denver. I went to Colorado Springs, and they're actually the Rocky Mountain Vibes now. But then the Grand Junction Rockies. Yeah, Kevin got the Chihuahuas. I think he's a little behind, but he did get it.
Well, the reason I know a lot of those ones is because of MLB The Show, and you play as like a minor league team.
Oh, really? That, so. Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
So when you put yourself like on a team, you go through the minor league system.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. They are actually a Rockies affiliate. So that's how I got Albuquerque in there. So I was able to do that. So that was very cool. All right. So Colin Duncan comes in. Isotopes are a AAA affiliate of the Rockies. Absolutely. Thank you for joining, Colin. So that is the show that we had for you today. Let me actually go to this. Please, thank you for joining today. This is our first foray into this. This has been a blast. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. We have all of our social media right here. Definitely please tell a friend, and we'll try to do this every weekend. This is the Beer Baseball Hoppy Hour. And so please tell me more of where we can find Halo Haven and the All Angels podcast.
All Angels podcast, pretty much anywhere where you can hear your podcast. Apple iTunes, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're part of the Armchair Media Network. You could find us on our social medias at Halo_Haven. That's on Instagram and Twitter, and our email.
allangelspodcast@gmail.com. So if you follow us on our social media, we'll post when we're doing a podcast, especially now during the off season when we get together, and then we'll ask for questions, and I guess the easiest way to get a hold of us through there and put in your question is through the email at allangelspodcast@gmail.com. Yeah. And as of right now, the podcast, we are just dropped an episode today, Saturday morning. It's with the AL Rookie of the Month for the month of September, Jared Walsh. So that's out now. You can always go back into our archives. We have interviews with Mark Gubaza, the analyst for Fox Sports West, and just other, we've done other things, other interviews with other players throughout the season. So you can always go back and listen to those. But yeah, definitely check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify are probably the two easiest ways to find us. And if you are on the iOS Apple Podcast, please rate and review the podcast, and it kind of helps us be easier to find through the iOS system. So leave a review, rate. Takes 2 minutes, no time at all. So that's definitely the easiest way to find the podcast.
No doubt.
Definitely. And it's been a blast. And, I knew this was going to be good, but this has been way better than I even expected. So thank you so much for joining us today. You can actually see us is the Beer Baseball Blogcast. It is 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on YouTube. All the platforms you see here, with the exception of Instagram. Hopefully one day Instagram will let us stream live, but you can catch us. We're trying to build our YouTube, so please go and subscribe, turn on notifications, but we'll be there on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Angelo Trinidad, Kevin Lyon, and myself, we have a great spirited discussion. We talk about this day in baseball. We open up baseball card packs. We do trivia, and we also do different types of things. Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah, so a total fun, but we're here on the weekends. We're going to try to make this a regular thing. So thanks for hanging out, guys. And we will not see you at the brewery. We will not see you at the ballpark, but we'll see you on Tuesday and Saturdays, maybe Sundays here every week. So take care, and we really enjoy. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.